What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I am finally getting a chance to dive into Prince Freya. Now, Prince Freya is a series that has been on my radar, on my to-read list for a very long time. Pretty much ever since a year or so, a little over a year ago, when I first started physically collecting manga. And I'm going out in the stores, browsing, looking around or whatever. And I'll never forget, I saw some of the covers for the volumes. For those of y'all watching the YouTube video of this, I got all 7 of the current volumes, the covers of them rotating out. But it just always caught my eye. But Volume 1 always eluded me. Granted, I know I probably could have found it online, ordered it online, but y'all know, when possible, I just love, finding stuff in person and picking it up at that moment. But anywho, finally had an opportunity to get access to a digital copy of Volume 1. And so here I am, a couple of days later, 7 volumes later. I am now fully caught up. I have read it all. Now, backtracking a bit, so Prince Freya. This is a shoujo series that is a fantasy romance that follows basically a young girl named Freya who happens to look just like the crown prince of the kingdom that she lives in, the Tyr kingdom, Prince Edward, something like that. Well, long story short, things happen to the prince, and Freya ends up needing to basically live his life because of the fact that she looks pretty much identical to what the prince looks like. And thus here we are. Honestly, kind of reminds me a little bit of, for those of y'all that have read Kingdom, the situation that Shin's best friend was in, where Shin's best friend looked just like the king, or the young prince, I guess, at the time. But anywho, so yeah, and so that's the kind of long and short of the story of this series, is that Freya is a girl from a country town outside the kingdom, just living her best life with her sickly mother. And she had 2 close guy friends that she grew up with that her mother took in when they found them. I think when they were younger, they got captured, and young little Freya happened to free them, and then they came to live with her and her mother. And they are Aaron and Alexi. Yeah, Aaron and Alexi. So as they've gotten older or whatever, Aaron is actually one of the main guards for the prince, whereas Alexi is kind of like he's there, but he's not like as big of a deal ranking wise as his older brother. But yeah, and so this story surprised me in so many ways. Just because, like I said, like the only thing I've known about this series for a while is that it just follows a girl who has to take the place of this prince. But I did not expect it to, I don't know, to have all the twists and turns that the story has, because while the prince himself was always kind of flashy, and I don't know if I would say flamboyant, but because the prince was beautiful and Freya herself is beautiful, a lot of people were very infatuated with the prince. And so now with Freya in that role, and just because of how her personality and stuff is, she just really becomes a character that you really want to root for, and that a lot of the characters in the story really want to protect. And some of them start to get feelings for Freya. Now there's a very few people who actually know that, okay, the prince is no longer here and this is somebody else, an actual girl standing in for the prince, but everybody else just thinks it's still the prince. And so that just kind of creates a lot of like really interesting and some sometimes funny situations where some characters are kind of like, man, I'm kind of really allured by the prince, not knowing that it is Freya. But the art of this series is also like really beautiful as well and very fitting. It just like really fits this story and stuff. And so yeah, but throughout the course of these 7 volumes, one thing I will say is that this series does not hold back. There is death, there is dismemberment, and all sorts of things along the way. Because even in that first volume, a very big thing happens that I did not expect, and I was just like, whoa, okay, did they really just do that? And they did, and they continue to do it. But I really like Freya because she is just a character that you just really want to root for. You can really see she really has a passion for wanting to help people, to protect people, and to want best for those that are around her. And now, granted, sometimes she jumps into situations head first without really thinking about them or just doing stuff on instinct. She sometimes speaks up and voices her opinion or thoughts and stuff on certain matters, that maybe she should have like held back on a bit. And plus, with Freya now in a royalty position, there's also even more weight to the words and actions that Freya takes along this journey. But I do enjoy that throughout these 7 volumes, we kind of get to see progression across the board, from them traveling to different countries for different purposes to some of the other characters starting to like slowly open up to Freya, and also seeing Freya's growth as well and being put into this leadership position, being surrounded by all of these men characters and things like that, and honestly, and even some of the women along the way that she has to encounter and deal with. But all of the characters, a lot of the characters are really really cool, really beautiful, really interesting, and I don't know, it's just a lot of just intrigue and things that I am just curious to see more about as the story goes along. So now the series has been going on for, I think, like 4 years or so, roughly. I think 4 or 5 years, somewhere in that time frame. And while it has 7 volumes, there's only about 21 chapters, because they're lengthy chapters, which is why, okay, yeah, it's 20 chapters, but they only do like three or so chapters per volume, and so they're pretty lengthy, pretty meaty chapters. But this is one that, like I said, it feels like I've seen a few people here and there over the couple of years I've been really covering manga and stuff talk about this series, but I definitely feel like this is one that would really blow up if there ever is an anime done. But because of the pace of when the chapters and the volumes and stuff come out or whatever, because I think volume 8 is slated for, I think, maybe January of 2023, and so it might be a while before we have enough material, to truly have, enough for at least like a solid season. Just because based off of what I've read so far, there might be one spot I think maybe like the end of volume 6, beginning of volume 7, maybe that you might could stop at. I could see, but otherwise, I don't really see too many other like good spots just because of the story is still kind of early on. It's still kind of like really just now ramping up and still building. But like I said, there is still a fair amount of things that happen. So, but yeah, but Prince Freya is definitely a series that I encourage y'all to give a shot to check into. Um, like I said, especially if you're looking for like a new fantasy romance series, then this is definitely one to put on your radar and to check out. So, because like I said, I had a feeling I would like it just based off of what I read off of the synopsis early on, but I didn't anticipate reading through everything available within a day or so. But here we are, 7 volumes later. I am a supporter of Prince Freya, and I hope that you are too. And I think with that, I don't think there's too much else I want to touch on. Um, Actually, you know what? Just very briefly, because I like doing this, talking a little bit more specific. So I'm gonna touch on some plot point spoiler stuff, whatever. So just for a couple of minutes, but I just kind of just wanted to get my thoughts out there on a couple of things. So if you're watched so far, go check out Prince Freya. Uh, Pretty cool series, but I need to dive into a couple of spoilers, so you've been warned. Spoilers beginning now. So, first surprise that like really caught me off guard was them killing off uh the older brother Aaron in that first volume. When that happened, I was like, and it wasn't no, oh, he got stabbed, or it was like, nah, head just gone. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I did not know that they were getting down like that in this volume or in this series in general. But seeing Freya just break because she had never really seen and been exposed to that type of trauma and stuff. And so that was wild. Later on with the young girl that they had with them when they were heading to that one fortress, and Freya tried to get the girl to stay. She was like, no, hey, go, there's a village down here, whatever, go chill there while we go and see if your village and stuff, whatever, is good. And the girl was like, no, 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 let me come. And the damn catapults with the giant rocks just freaking crushed the poor little girl's legs, and then pretty much took her out. And like Alexei, he tried, to save her, and that moment too was wild, to where they was on the edge of the cliff when he was picked up the girl from under the boulder, and then like him and the girl fell off the cliff into the water below. Now I had a feeling with him he wasn't gone, because I was like, that would be too cruel. That would be too cruel to take both of the brothers. And thankfully he didn't die. He was injured. He did lose an eye though, because that freaking arrow, that's what it was, the arrow hit him and he went off the cliff. But he did make this pact with this forest tribe and stuff, whatever. And I'm interested to see like what else is going on with that. But yeah, those things. The emperor, the young lion, as I call him, with the flaming red hair. I loved his encounter with Freya on the boat. Just because they both didn't know who each other were and stuff like that, and but they also had a little bit of like a connection of sorts, and so it's gonna be interesting to see the moment when they actually meet again face to face, knowing each other's titles, which is why I love this cover for Volume 5, just them two together. But yeah, that dude's a problem. but But yeah, all the twists and turns and stuff. What's her name? Etta, finding out that she was actually the queen of the kingdom, but this lady from this from the Sigurd kingdom basically took over, took her husband, made her a maid with no name. But luckily they had hid away their child. But that whole scenario was wild. But it was cool to see how it all kind of came together and played out in the end. All of that was just really really dope. And so I'm not sure like where things are about to go now with them in this seemingly like other kingdom or whatever is going on there. But yeah, all in all, like I said, this has been a very pleasant surprise and a really good read. But yeah, I just look forward to seeing Freya and all the other characters, all of their continuous growth. Seeing Julius continue to open up to Freya and starting to fall for her as well. Um, and everything. So, but I'm just rambling at this point. Like I said, I just had to just touch on those couple of plot points that just like really took me aback when I read them. I was like, whoa. Oh, and the last one too, freaking Freya's mother pulling out the sword, cause obviously, you're a sickly mother. You've been in bed for a long time, and your daughter and your adoptive sons, you haven't seen them. You're getting messages from the capital, but as a parent, I understand that something just doesn't feel right. And so at the end of I think it was volume 7, when she got another letter and she was just like, this just something just doesn't feel right. And we see her open up this like secret compartment in the house and go downstairs, and we see like a freaking like a shield on the wall or whatever, and we see her wielding a sword or holding up a sword. It's like, yo, is mom getting ready to set out on a adventure to see what happened to Freya? And so I look forward to the day when they get to reunite and stuff. Though it would be sad, like when they have to tell her about Aaron passing away and all the other stuff that has happened over time. But yeah, it was just really wild. Oh, speaking of parents, freaking Prince Edward's father, the king, like his condition and stuff, and like that was a fun chapter, seeing him and Freya going out into town and stuff, whatever, when they were trying to like get him to give up the jewel thing. But even in his mental state he was in, he knew that that wasn't his son. Um, he had fun with Freya or whatever, but he ended up asking the guard. He was like, "Who is that person?" and that's not my son. Who is that person? And so yeah, so it's just a lot of things that are kind of like slowly bubbling in the background. That it might be a while before we get any payoff on any of that stuff, whatever. But I still look forward to following it, to seeing um, what comes of it in the future. But yeah, but Prince Freya, a pleasant surprise, and between this and Villains Are Destined to Die, I'm kind of thinking I need to look into some more romance series and stuff as well. So, but that is another discussion for another day. This has been going on for a while, so I thank you so much if you're still listening and or watching for your time. But yeah, as always, let me know what you think. Have you checked out Prince Freya? Are you interested in checking out Prince Freya? And like I said, hopefully someday we get to see this beautiful manga animated. And speaking of which, I didn't even say this is a series from published by Viz. I might have said that, but the the story and art is done by Keiko Ishihara, and it's just been so sweet. Like at the end of all the volumes, since I got to binge read it all, seeing like her notes and stuff, whatever, of like, oh hey, I finally had a series go past, 3-4 volumes, whatever, and hey, we made it to 7 volumes. Just hearing the story and everything, whatever, of how the author has been going through it, over the years. She's trying to learn and adapt and do her best. So much love to the author Keiko Ishihara of Prince Freya. But with that, I am out. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Y'all have an awesome day and or week, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.